said, this is telling me that we are going to go through some troublous time,
Right.
but we will come out safe.
If it was some people, they would go on mad, say if you never see me, you come crash up in on me.
Right.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
All right, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Mama G and I are on location somewhere very beautiful, and we're just using this opportunity to make a video. This month is February, and it is Papa G's birth month, and in honor of him, we'll be posting some videos about, you know, his life. And in this video, we'll talk about how he met his wife. I'm going to get his wife's perspective. He's not even here with us. So I'll be asking her these questions, and I'm going to also ask him these questions separately. All right, and then compare the answers. So the first question is, Mama G, tell me how and where and when you met your husband. Tell me about that.
Well, first time I met Papa G was at a crusade in Reggae Park. It was a tent crusade where all the churches meet up. So coming from the crusade, the rain was falling, and Papa G opened his umbrella, and there was a point on the umbrella, and it struck me and cut me, gave me a cut.
Where on your body?
On my hand, because I was running to catch the bus. You know, crusade over late, so I was running to catch the last bus to get home, and so it was bleeding, and I stopped. And he was saying, oh, he's so sorry, what is my name? And, you know, then the other night he looked out for me.
Okay.
And we started to talk. We started talking, and I just like him from there.
Okay. So my next question is, was it like an instant connection when you saw him that night? Did you feel like he was handsome, and, you know, you feel like this guy could be a potential, you know, boyfriend / husband in the future?
That came across my mind, but I was weighing it, because looking at him, he just seems off to me. Is that, I don't know, it wasn't love at first sight. His head looked bigger than his body to me, you know. But then, you know, I think about it, and I said, if him get some good soup and porridge, it might even up. His head and body would come together.
Okay, I'm waiting for him to hear
thinking.
that. Oh boy, that's funny, Mama G. So in terms of the first move, who made the first move in terms of starting the relationship, and how did it happen?
I think he made the first move, because I saw him at a bus stop again, and then we started to talk, and he asked me where I live, and he came there, and that was it.
Did you guys ever go on a date or anything like that in those early stages?
Well, our date was going to Mother's and eat patty and drink juice, because we were poor guys. we didn't have anything.
Right. How long after meeting did you guys get engaged or get married?
6 months, you know. It was very short, because I was praying. I was in the looking stage also, and I was saying, Lord, I really want to settle down.
How old were you at this time?
I was 23.
Okay.
And I was saying, I want somebody that love the Lord, because guys come around, but they're just joking. And I said, Lord, send me somebody. And I saw him in a dream. So so during that time, I said, you know, this is the man that the Lord wants me to marry to. And then Papa G voice, it just charms my heart.
If anybody know Mama G and her dreams, you know how that go already. And Mama G dream a lot of things. And so it's about 6 months.
Yes.
So, okay. What are some of the biggest obstacles that you guys face in your early stages of marriage?
Well, biggest obstacle is the first one. When we were getting married, we were looking place, and so we set the date and said by then we would have moved. We would have gotten that place before, and it didn't materialize. So it was the day when we were getting married that we got somewhere to live. And it just didn't deter us, because we trust God and we believe God is going to come through, because where he was living, I could not live there, and where I was living, he could not live there. So we both need our own space.
Wow.
And it does happen. And finances.
Talk about faith. A lot of women nowadays especially probably would not do that, you know, like you get married, you need to have a place, you know, like somewhere you can settle down. But God work it out in the end. What about a meaningful memory from your early days together?
Yeah, well, my first home and my first child.
Okay.
Yes, because Papa G wanted a girl when I was pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and he got it, and then we owned our first home.
That's nice. And that was where again in Portmore?
Greater Portmore.
Okay. All right, and just going back again to the wedding. Anything, any kind of mishaps happen on the wedding day?
Well, the
Or
wedding.
funny moments?
The only thing, and I see it as a blessing. The wedding was to be on the 22nd of January, and the Saturday night, the 21st, rain started fall heavily. We don't normally get that heavy rain in January. The rain poured. Even when I was in the church, rain was just pouring on the outside. We didn't even go on a honeymoon. We just drive out and come back. We were poor at least. We didn't really have it. But then, what happened when I left the church and to go for and to have my the reception, when I left the church to go for reception, my wedding certificate fell. And I didn't realize it was in my lap and it fell out. After the reception, I remember that I didn't put up my wedding certificate.
Uh-oh.
And the envelope was soaked and the certificate was dry. And I said, this is telling me that we are going to go through some troublous time,
right?
But we will come out safe.
Man, what a thing! And after you guys got married, what was life like through those early phases of the marriage?
It was rough. It was rough. Financially, I was working at Free Zone. Papa G was doing tailoring. And then afterward, he went into taxi. After leaving Free Zone, I wasn't working for a while before I started to get some odd jobs. It was really rough times. And then Papa G would plant some callaloo and pop choy, and we would sell it to survive. But we didn't allow that to deter us. We know we love each other, and we know God is in the center of the marriage, and it wasn't about selfish gain or pride or whatever. It was just about our relationship with God, and I believe God has planned our marriage and he was the head of it, and so we work with him and he take us through.
Amen. What are some of the qualities that you like in your husband?
Papa G is very kind. He's a very kind-hearted person, very loving. He's very compassionate, and one thing I love with him, even while we were going through our struggles, he would share the children's lunch money and help his niece. He had niece who could not, he have two nieces who could not go to school regularly, and he would assist them to go. And I like that about it. And he would take care of it. I remember his mother was sick, and his sister, and he take care of them. Papa G come off the choir and go and tend to his brother, bathe his brother, and take care of his brother. So I love that about him.
Anything else that you want to mention, like obstacles wise, that you guys overcame? And any advice that you would have for young couples in the church, and maybe you want to share something about divorces in the church these days. I know it's a lot of questions, but let's see how you can tackle them. What are some other obstacles that you may have encountered early on in marriage or even recently? And also, what do you have to say about, to young couples? So let's start with the obstacles first.
Okay, for the early part of my marriage, like the first 8 years, we had some obstacles that was more family related, not between Papa G and myself, more family, and it was really weighing me down. And there were times when I was so stressed out, and it was even affecting the children. So I told Papa G that I'm going to give the marriage a break for a while. I wasn't thinking of divorce. And he said he's going to deal with it. And he called a meeting and he dealt with it, and from that the problem was resolved. What I'm saying, divorce is not an option when you're married. God doesn't like divorce, and it doesn't matter whatever situation you find yourself into. I think if we fast and pray as couple and even as individual and go to God, it can be resolved. It doesn't have to end up in divorce.
Yeah. That's a good point. And most time it's just not being humble. It's like pride, you know.
Yeah, sometimes pride take over and unforgiving.
Right.
Sometimes we have that unforgiving spirit, and we just believe, and selfishness also. We believe that it's me alone doing this, or it's me alone, because there are times when Papa G will have situation dealing with monetary, and I would like him to assist me with house, with something in the house, but he said, oh, I have to deal with my car, and I have to compromise, I have to balance it, because both are necessary. So I will do the house and he will do the car.
Right.
So we have to weigh things, and we have to communicate, have good communication, understand each other, work towards the progress of our marriage. So young people, marriage is not easy. It's not an easy road, but with God in your family, you can make it. It is possible. And if you determine, like how I determined that I don't believe in divorce, and I'm not going to end up divorcing, because I want it to be an example for my children.
Right. What if you should choose one word? How would you describe your marriage? What one word? What one word would you use to describe your marriage?
One word that I would use to describe my marriage is God's providence. Because I have seen God's hand shaping, forming, building, and making my marriage.
That's wonderful. Any advice for younger couples in the church, or just young couples in general?
Well, I think you should pray before you really, and if you used to pray 2 times a day, pray more when you are dating or go courting. And read this book, Adventist Home. It is very good. There are some very good advice. And don't think about divorce. Divorce is not an option.
Right. I see that the rate is alarming, not just in the world, but also in the church, of divorces. So that's definitely, very sad to see. And you just have to remember that the marriage is one of those early institution that was, put in place from the Garden of Eden. So even before the Sabbath, because, that was on the 6th day. So yeah, thank you, Mama G, for sharing. I can't wait to get Papa G's answers to these questions, and I will compare your guys' answers and see how it goes. So, Papa G, the first question that we have for you is, where and how and when did you first meet your wife, Mama G?
We met at a church crusade. How we met, after the crusade was over the night, we're going to catch the bus. I was running to catch the bus, and she was running in the opposite direction. And when 2 persons is running and you're trying to avoid them and they are trying to avoid you, so eventually you end up crash up in each other. That's how we first met. And I say, I'm sorry. And she said, that's okay. And we went our merry ways.
Okay. Did you feel an instant connection, or it was just, as you said, it's an accident? Or did you find that this lady was, attractive, or somebody you'd want to, get to know better?
Okay, after that, when I go into the bus, I saw her in the bus, and I said, wait. She wasn't going my direction when we were running.
Right.
So how she reached in the bus before me? Anyhow, I was there looking at her. I said, but she look nice. Could give her a talk one at a time.
Why not? Go ahead.
And then the next night now, I went to crusade, and there she was. As I reached the crusade, she was out the front.
So you didn't even have to look for her?
No, and I went up to her and said, I'm sorry about what happened last night. She said, no, man, that's okay. That was just an accident. And as a matter of fact, when I was on the bus, I said, if it was some people, they would go on mad, say, if you never see me, you come crash up in me.
Right.
But she just take it easy like nothing happened.
That's wonderful.
And so we started talking from there.
Wow. So did you guys have any official dates, or you consider yourself together from the crusade? Like, when did it become a relationship versus just like a casual, friendship?
Okay. We didn't live far from each other, because at the second meeting with her, we talk, and exchange, like where you live, and I tell her where I'm living, and I realize she just lived like about 10 minutes walk from where I was living.
Okay.
So I said, okay, can I come by and visit? She said, yeah, and I went by, and that's where it all started.
Oh wow. Did you guys used to go out on any dates, or you guys never really do those kind of stuff?
Not really, before we get married, no,
Okay.
no. We just go to church and talk, and she come to my church because we went to separate Seventh-day Adventist church.
Right.
But we never really go out.
Couldn't be these modern women, no, Papa G, 'cause then we have to carry them out. Different time now.
I know.
How long after meeting did you guys get married? Like when you
I'd say about 6 months, between 6 months or something like that.
Okay. That's relatively pretty. That's pretty quick. So
Yeah.
I know you're older than Mama G, obviously, but were you ready? Were you looking for somebody at the time, or did you want to start a family, or you were just still kind of, enjoying your singleness?
Yes, because okay, I was going to church. I was a Christian then, so
Okay.
with the going out thing, it wasn't so very popular with Christians going out. So we just visit each other and we talk and we go to church and come back home.
Okay. What are some of the biggest obstacles that you guys face in your early stages of marriage and relationship?
But even before that, she was introduced to my parents,
Right.
to my mother, because my father was dead. And my mother liked her. Okay, then she take me to her father. And when I went to see her father, his first reaction was, "This is the man."
Like a prophecy. That this was before you guys got married, I'm guessing, right?
Yes.
Right.
I felt good about his accepting me.
Right. That's definitely a very strong acceptance, and I don't know if everybody. I guess most people watching this would know Mama G's father, but from what I've heard, he was a very strict man.
Yes.
So, what was he like? Some sort of police or something like that?
DC.
Right. So once that was a big deal for him to just accept you like that. So that's great. Yes. So back to the early obstacles. Like, what are some of the obstacles that you guys faced early in the relationship? I think.
Getting somewhere to live. We planned to get married. We didn't have. I was living at my brother's house, and she was living with some friend, rented a house. But we didn't want to live there, so we were looking around for some place for ourselves. And then we were getting married Sunday, and up to Thursday we don't know where we're going to live.
Hmm.
It wasn't until Friday, well, midday we got somewhere. Move Saturday night.
After the Sabbath, huh?
Yeah, after the Sabbath. Sunday we got married. It rained all day.
Talk about a blessing, because when people say rainfall is a blessing, which that's a wonderful blessing. So that was one of the big obstacles, getting somewhere to live.
Yes.
Of course, that's a big deal. Now that you're getting, you have your own wife, you have to definitely have somewhere for you guys to lay your head. After you guys got married and stuff, what was it like? What are some of the meaningful things that you guys had in your early times together?
The house that we had, that we got, there was a friend that she had, so we shared the house together. She had one room and we had one and we shared it. Well, after we're there for, okay, my wife got pregnant and then we have a dog. And we were living there for a while until the owner of the house said, somebody from our church had a sister who had a house relative.
Okay.
After we got the house, she was like a thorn in her side. She asked us, tell us that she needed a place. We asked her for the month in the back rent. We cook up all kind of stories, so we punch her fridge with the fridge motor with ice brick and all kind of.
Which is what?
Eventually, we just move and leave her with the money. When we move and live again, the landlord steal my wife's money. Those were some obstacles we are, you know. It seems as if life was not treating us fair at the time. But then we moved again to another church brethren who his wife was okay, but he always say things or do things to make us uncomfortable. Then we see the houses going up and going up. But yeah, quiet. And so we went and got one. At that time, I had a tailor shop close by,
Right.
and she was still working at prison.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so that's where we moved to Greater Pongoili. And gradually we improved our homes. And then I had a son 4 years later after the dog.
What one word do you use to describe your marriage?
Yeah, what I would say, faith put us together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but otherwise, it wasn't smooth sailing.
Yeah. So was divorce ever an option during those turbulent times?
Not really. No.
Okay. That's good.
We're just trying to make the best of what we have and trying to make life better.
So what about this high rate of divorce in our church currently? Like, how do you feel about that? Do you think people are just kind of trying to get the easy option out and they're not trying to work on it? Like, what do you have to say about all these people getting divorced? Actually,
If we are studying the Bible, the Lord said it's just because of the hardness of our heart why we really divorce. But if you love somebody, even when they done you wrong, you know, if you can't forgive who you see at present, how you're gonna forgive those who you don't see around? You have to forgive people for what they done you so you can be forgiven. Because the Lord forgive you of your sin and me of my sin. So why shouldn't I be able to forgive somebody?
So that's a good point, Papa G. What about these younger people now, maybe late teens, early 20s, who are looking for a partner? You know, they're not married yet. You know, they're dating or whatever, or courting. You know, what are some advice do you have for them when they're looking for a partner or to choose the right partner?
You have yourself looking a partner. You have to trust God and pray to the Lord and ask God to help. And it's best to have somebody from the religion that you are going to, the church that you're going.
That's right. Not to be unequally yoked.
Exactly.
Yeah, those are some really good points. Well, Papa G, I don't know if you have any final closing remarks, but thank you so much for the information and for letting us into your life and to learn about your early stage of marriage and how you met your wife and how you grow your family.
That's a little synopsis of what goes on.
I know. We definitely can't cover the 70 years in this video.
Yeah, I'm with mine for 36.
That's wonderful. And how do you feel about your wife today, 36 years later? What is like one good thing you really like about Mama G, appreciate about her? Are so many.
Yeah, many. She's a very caring wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't have nothing too good that she wouldn't get.
Right.
And she takes care of her family.
And she knows how to cook, Papa G.
Yeah. She's a good cook.
She can do a mean meal. All right. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to watch, like, share, comment, and let us know what you think about this video and getting to learn more about Mama G and Papa G. Thank you so much.